to Lady Khadija radiyallahu anha. May God be pleased with her online college. This is year 1 of A-level maths, pure maths following the Edexcel UK and international syllabus. Today's topic is completing the square. Here the idea is to take a quadratic expression, a quadratic equation, something that looks similar to a quadratic equation, and factorize it but only use one bracket. So you're trying to get one bracket squared, so completing the square, so you have to have the same thing squared, and then you have to make it still expand out to what you originally had. So let's start with x squared plus 8x. We want just one bracket this time. We want to factorize this into one bracket, but it has to be completing the square, so this bracket will be squared. So what's required? You're going to need an x because that's the only way to get x squared. But then the second part will be a plus 4. And the rule is that it's always half of this number here. So take a look at this number here before the x, half it, and that's the number that goes here. If I expand this out, x plus 4 squared, I won't get x squared plus 8x. I'll get similar, but I'll also get a bit more. So what you then need to do is always then subtract, and we are subtracting 4 squared. So it's whatever this number is that you put here, that is going to be taken away with a 4 squared. You have to put 4 squared. So final answer would be x plus 4 in a single bracket squared, take away 16. You can check that yourself by expanding that out, and you should get x squared plus 8x. Okay, let's try one more example before it gets a little bit harder. So this one is x squared minus 3x. Single bracket is what we need. Single bracket will be squared. Inside the single bracket is x. Now this is minus 3, so I need half of that. So that's minus 1.5, which is minus 3 over 2. And then I need some kind of adjustment here because at the moment if I expand this out, I won't get back to x squared minus 3x. I'll get something else instead. So always, always, always it's going to be a minus at the end. Whether inside the brackets is a plus or minus doesn't matter. This bit is always going to be a minus. Because when you square a number, you will always get a positive. So this has to be exactly the opposite, which is a minus. So minus, and then you take a look at what you put here, which is 3 over 2, and we just want to square that. Okay, so final answer is going to be x minus 3 over 2 squared minus, and then write this in any form you're comfortable with. I'll just write it as 9 over 4. Each bit gets squared. Okay, so they're the two warm-up ones. The real one that you need to be able to handle is if there's something in front of the x, so 2x squared minus 12x is going to be a bit of a challenge. So the way to do this is take the 2 as the common factor and use square brackets instead of curly brackets. So it's normal factorizing, just taking a factor of 2 out, bringing the 2 to the front. The reason why we're using square brackets is because now what we're going to do is just take the inside as the same questions as we've done before. So we'll use the same technique. So we'll have 2 square bracket. You need plenty of space here. And now just apply the technique we had before to the x squared minus 6x. So one single bracket squared x, and then half of what you see here, which is minus 3, and then the adjustment on the outside, always a minus, is going to be minus 3 squared. Okay, let's just neaten that up a little bit. Minus 3 squared can be written as minus 9. And then what we can do is, this 2 at the front is 2 times, So we can times everything by 2. So the bracket gets times by 2. So there's the 2 at the beginning of the bracket, the curly bracket, and then the 9 gets times by 2. So final answer is 2 bracket x minus 3 squared minus 18. So just see if you can remember the steps there. First, to make it a bit easier, take the 2 out as a common factor. Notice the use of the square brackets. Next, take a look at what's inside the square brackets and treat it just like the questions from before. So one single bracket squared, fill it in, fill in the outside, simplify. And then now deal with the 2. The 2 is a 2 times, so everything gets times by 2. And that's the topic for today. Join me on more completing the square in the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be with you and the mercy and blessings of God.